Survive and Advance on the Grueling Truth Sports Network. Survive and Advance is brought to you by Replenishing Care Technologies, the future of sports medicine. To check them out, go to thegruelingtruth.net, click on the banner at the top of the page. I'm your host for Survive and Advance, or co-host, Mike Goodpaster. Right now I want to welcome in my other co-host, as long as he forgot or remembered to take the mute button off, Steve Risley. How you doing, Steve?
Doing great, Mike. How you doing today?
Oh, you did remember the mute button. All right, and of course, as always, we have to have Steve's little brother from Canada, Lukas Weese. How you doing, Lukas?
Hey, Mike, I'm doing well. It's Friday. We have a long weekend up in Canada, so we'll have Monday off, so I'm doing really well.
Is every weekend in Canada a long weekend?
Pretty well, because we're socialists, so...
Does that mean you'll be communist soon, right?
Yeah, well, it goes down that, line of progression.
All right, next up, we have Steve's illegitimate brother, Scott Wilson, who is a junior high teacher at Three Rivers Middle School. How you doing? Or did they call it Taylor Middle School now?
It is now Taylor Middle School. We got promoted. I'm doing great. My kid.
You there, Scott?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear us, Scott?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hear me?
I can hear you, but you're breaking up a little bit.
Hang on a second. Hang on. Is that better?
Yeah. All right, guys. So we have two discussions today. And the first one we're going to start off with, if anybody watched the Hall of Fame game last night, which the Ravens beat the Bears in a just scintillating preseason matchup, you saw that there is one glaring omission from the Hall of Fame this weekend, and that's Terrell Owens. Terrell Owens is protesting because it took, till the third year for him to get on the ballot. He's going to actually do everything, his speech at the University of Tennessee, Chattanooga tomorrow at 3:17. I don't know why 3:17, but I think when we look at this guy, or Steve, this is why it took till the third ballot for him to get in the way he acts.
No doubt. I mean, I don't even have words to describe the silliness of this thing. This is the greatest sports moment in his life. He's letting his family down, himself down, the Hall of Fame down, his teammates down, the other enshrinees down. Now it becomes a controversial year for Brazil and all the other guys going in, and it's the self-centeredness he's displayed his entire career. It's fitting that it carries right into him going into the Hall of Fame as a self-centered idiot. So it's just right on line with his entire idiotic career. It's just a waste of talent. It's a great talent, and his brain overrode his talent.
Yeah, and
which is not a very talented brain.
We had this discussion about the Hall of Fame and the induction process. And Lukas, he is right. He should have been in the first ballot, I think, if you look at over 15,000 yards and what he did for his career.
For sure.
And he has a point, because I don't think what a player does like that should affect him being elected right away.
Well, then Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well,
because Pete Rose gambled on baseball.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
What did Terrell Owens do to hurt the game?
Being stupid is a crime, too.
Yeah, but
That's
this
true.
is the difference. There is nothing in his contract that says if you act like an idiot, you don't get to go to the Hall of Fame. So the gambling is
in the NFL. But in the NFL criteria,
don't go off on tangent on that.
Well, you're the one that brought it up.
I know. I did it as a joke.
See, did it as a joke, Scott Wilson.
Remember, it's Friday. I'm pretty worn out about you right now, but this time every week. Remember, about Friday, I get kind of testy with you because usually I've had enough of you. For the week, I need 2 days off away from you.
Big baby.
So we're at that point.
Hey, tell your wife to get you that pacifier, and Lukas, go ahead and answer.
Yeah, I mean, for me, look, I think with Terrell Owens, the reason why he didn't get in the Hall of Fame sooner is because the NFL criteria has bylaws now that state, they look into, your character in addition to your performance on the field. We know that T.o numbers are sensational. I mean, first ballot worthy number. But every single team he went to, San Francisco, Philly, Dallas, He fractured that team because of his behavior. And here's another example where he could have taken the high road, but instead he still has a chip on his shoulder because the Hall of Fame didn't let him in the first ballot. And it's just such a disgrace for the Pro Football Hall of Fame because, as you're right, Steve, this is the greatest honor and moment of his sporting career, and he's just pissing it away for just because he has a personal vendetta with the Football Hall of Fame. So,
yeah,
but
and this is something that Scott, I think he's going to go to regret as he gets older anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, he's done – I don't think we understand Terrell's needs, okay? He did a lot of things. He questioned Garcia's sexuality and basically says, again, if you've heard Jeff Garcia speak, he's clearly straight. The 7-year contract for $49 million, he signs that. He yaps about McNabb because McNabb wouldn't throw balls to him. Now, he's got great abs. So, to me, just because of his abs alone, he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Hey, and
the
just
T.o.
because
show,
of that question, so you know, Lukas is probably going to question your sexuality after the show on Twitter.
Well, I want to know, does having a manly voice guarantee you're not gay?
I know.
That's a loaded question, Scott. I'll tell you what, I'm about to jump down your throat on that question. That's
oh, boy.
Yeah,
hey,
almost a racist question comment. Be careful.
Make America
it would be
hard
homophobic,
again.
not racist.
Right.
The homophobic question, right. Just because you're strong boys means you are a manly man.
That's exactly right.
Easy there, junior high school teacher.
Yeah, because now you're bringing up homosexuality the day after your wife would not answer the erectile dysfunction question.
You know what? See, now we're going to throw personal attacks.
Yeah.
And that is just not. I'm not. Yeah.
Yeah, you've known me.
Hey, you volunteered to come on this show.
You volunteered. You knew what you were getting into. You've been personally attacked almost every time you've ever been on one.
You all set me up on that. So
no, we didn't. Nobody made you say anything about Aaron Garcia's voice or Jeff Garcia's voice.
Well, have you heard him talk?
No,
come on. Now his wife is hot. His wife is gorgeous.
Now you sound like Brent Musburger. Come on.
Oh
no!
Got Brent Musburger Jr. over here.
So we have to post this show, Mike.
We're definitely posting this now. We're posting it all over the Three Rivers Cleves community.
No. But if you look at like his top 10 like famous moments when he was in the NFL, the majority of them were not football moments. They were absolute clown stuff that, I mean, when he was standing behind Rosenhaus and Rosenhaus is like speaking for him and he's acting like he's crying. I mean, I remember when he wouldn't finish routes if he wasn't getting the ball for the Bengals. Now, he's a great player.
I don't remember.
And I remember
that's Randy Moss stuff. I don't think it's T.o.
No, I had season tickets. There were a couple times he
got
clearly
season tickets,
was full.
then you're right.
Wait, a junior high teacher can afford season tickets to the Bengals? Christ almighty, I was an executive with a major pharmaceutical company. I couldn't afford season tickets to the Colts game.
Yeah, but Bengals tickets are not cheaper.
We're paying our teachers too much money. We're paying our teachers
They are.
too much
You're
money.
right. We are so. You know what? And tomorrow, when I get my next paycheck for doing nothing, I am clearly overpaid. He's a clown. I mean, and I think and I agree with you guys. The fact that he continues to do does all this nonsense. This what he's doing right now, no one is surprised. That's the thing. No one's surprised at what he's doing. He's going to look back someday when he gets his head out of his you-know-what, and he's going to regret this because it's all about T.o. Everything's about him.
Yeah.
He's just a selfish player.
And Scott, that was a great statement you just made. I really want to real seriously comment. No one's surprised by this. Nobody is surprised that he's doing this.
Right.
That says it all right there. None of us are shocked that he's doing this. It's like, that's T.o.
Everything he did was me first. When he signed that ball in the end zone. Didn't he do this thing with the Cowboys on the Star? Didn't he walk out of practice and he was doing sit-up? Everything's always been about him.
Cried during the press conference about Tony Romo not throwing him the ball.
Yeah, but I mean, is this something that should have kept him off the Hall of Fame, the first ballot? I don't know.
If it's legal,
there are a lot of great athletes that have not gotten in on the first ballot. That's not. I mean, there are a lot of great athletes who didn't make it on the first ballot. All right, and I'm sure if we research it, we could find hundreds of great people that we think should be on the first ballot that didn't for one reason or another. He's getting to the 75% votes they needed in baseball or whatever it is, they just missed it by 1 or 2 votes, and they eventually get in. It's not when you get in; it's if you get in. I mean, and I think that's just hogwash.
Right.
You know, I heard Darrell Walter.
The thing is,
Darrell Walter did the same thing in NASCAR.
Yeah, it's
Darrell Walter was all pissed.
Nobody cares about
It's
NASCAR.
disrespectful.
But it's disrespectful.
It's a point.
My mother-in-law does.
But it's there you go, Steve. You could do a NASCAR show with Scott's mother-in-law.
Oh God.
I'm doing it with Jerry. I'm doing it with Jerry Garcia.
Yeah, do it with Garcia.
Not the ones that make
and
the
get
ice
the
cream.
Yeah, get.
No, okay. Jeff Garcia.
Jeff Garcia.
All right, guys.
Because he's a manly man.
Yeah.
Yes, he
is. But one other thing, do you think the Eagles are actually proud of the fact that he only played for them for 2 years and he's representing that team in the Hall of Fame? I think the Eagles are.
I don't think they're happy about it now.
I don't think they give a crap.
Right.
I don't think they don't care. Nobody cares.
No.
T.o's the only one that cares.
The Eagles
and
are
us
making a
doing
lot
a
of
stupid
money.
show about it.
Yeah.
But, all right, guys, that brings us to the next topic, which, of course, is Jerry Jones. I don't know. Jerry Jones now, all of a sudden, after taking a knee last year, thinks that everybody needs to stand up. What's your take on this, Lukas?
Well, first of all, I think, are we really surprised with Jerry Jones and his decision? Jerry Jones is a businessman first and foremost. He cares about making profit. He cares about the bottom line, and anything that affects that bottom line and those profits, whether, in his mind, the national anthem, he's going to do something about it. So his stance on this has been pretty clear from the beginning. Now, the reason why he kneeled during the Monday night game against the Arizona Cardinals, it was before the national anthem, was in response to President Trump's comments about calling football players SOBs. Jerry Jones did not kneel for the reason why Colin Kaepernick kneeled, which was to raise awareness about police brutality of unarmed black men by white police officers. And then once Jerry, that satisfied Jerry, he could then go back to what President Trump's been talking about, saying, well, if you kneel, you're out of the team. And I just disagree with that stance. I think the United States of America is a free country protected by the First Amendment of the Constitution, which gives people the freedom to protest, do whatever they want. I think the protest of kneeling has run its course. I think that now you need to really, interact with community groups and figure out ways to influence government to try to fix this issue. But if a player wants to kneel, that's their God-given right. And Jerry Jones, no matter if he's the most powerful owner in the NFL, representing the most valuable franchise, he shouldn't dictate what those players should or should not do. So I disagree with the stance, but I'm not surprised. Jerry Jones is a businessman.
All right. Scott, do you agree with Lukas?
I think you make a good point, but I agree most especially with the businessman first. I think part of the reason I think he's doing it, because where he's located in Texas, it's a whole different take down there in Texas. It's very conservative. I think he is looking out for the dollar on that. But to me, it's a private enterprise. I think he can legally do this. I read there were 9 legal experts said, I'm just looking legally on this. 9 legal experts said the NFL can force people to stand because it's a private business.
This is the problem. As a private business, number one, they're not really a private business. We all know that.
Well,
they're not. All right,
But
so you're
it's a
telling
privately
me,
owned
wait a
team.
second. So you're telling me, see, I don't think so. I think you'd lose that when Jerry's World was financed by, $500 million from taxpayers, or $500 million, $500 million from taxpayers.
But also, they're going to alienate their fan base if they don't do something.
No, they're not. See, wait a second, Scott. See, you believe that the majority of people are pathetic enough that they think that standing up for what you believe in is a bad thing?
No, let's stop. Let's go back to where this all started. Colin Kaepernick, who was wearing a Fidel Castro
which
outfit,
he has every right to do, by the way.
I understand that, but this goes all the way back to Kaepernick, and there's even bigger speculation that was the reason Kaepernick was doing that. Was not because of the whole black thing, but what it really was because he was trying to force San Francisco not to trade him by throwing that card in.
You're really stretching it. I mean, where did you get this information?
What?
Where did you get the information?
Okay, I'm just telling you.
You cannot tell me something without backing it up, because I can tell you this.
Okay.
I can tell you this as a private business. They entered into a collective bargaining agreement a few years ago with NFL players. This was not in that agreement. The only way legally they can do this is with the NFLPA allowing them to put it in the collective bargaining agreement.
NFL owners can fire players at will. They're allowed to. They'll have to pay their contract.
The CBA.
I'm telling you, because they run the team. Legally, there's legal experts. They may not like it, but legal experts are saying they absolutely have the right to force them to stand.
We had John Einreinhofer, who was one of the best lawyers in the Northeast, who was on the show like 2 months ago, and said that they have no legal grounds that NFL owners don't have to do this. You cannot fire somebody because of their political belief. You can fire somebody at any time for the way they play. You can fire them if they do something off the field that affects you negatively, but you can't fire
Mike,
somebody
there's never
for
been a
political
precedent.
beliefs.
There's never been a precedent set on this. So until this actually goes to all the way up to the Supreme Court, if somebody does fire a player, I think that until that precedent's set, you can do it.
But they've already done it. They've already fired a player. They've fired 2 of them. I mean, Colin Kaepernick is better. Right now, you could put Colin Kaepernick in Buffalo, and he'd be the best quarterback there. You could put Colin Kaepernick in other teams, and he'd be the best one there.
He's the one that started this whole thing, so why is nobody signing him, Mike?
That's why.
He got blackballed by the league.
Yeah.
Right. I think because he brings a lot of baggage to a team.
Oh, my God, he has a personal belief. He's got baggage. Come on, Scott. This is the thing. Right now, tell me this. Why is it that Jerry Jones is allowed to stand with his hat on and talk to his son during the national anthem?
Yeah.
Because he has $5,000 alligator shoes.
Yeah, exactly. So what you're telling me is if you're a rich person, you can do what you want. If you're a poor person, you can't, and you're all right with that.
To the average Joe, there are a lot of NFL fans who they would be completely turned off with that, and the owners don't want to.
Good.
The owners don't
I'm sorry,
want to lose
Scott, but this
their
is a
fan base,
50-50
Mike.
thing. Because wait a second, they're not losing fans because of this, not at all.
They're not.
They are. Where are they losing it?
So why was there a change? Why did Goodell in the offseason? Why was there a change made then?
There was a change made because Donald Trump demanded a change, and they have to do what Donald Trump says.
No, come on. No.
Okay.
I think
Explain
because
to me this.
Money talks.
I know. Money talks.
Mike.
That's why they listen to Donald Trump. How do the Bengals finance their stadium? How do the Cowboys finance their stadium? They're through public.
You want to know how they finance their stadium?
Subsidies.
Mike Brown bought some stuff, and he just bent the city of Cincinnati right over. That's how they funded it.
Well, all I know is this: Donald Trump can stop publicly funding these stadiums. Correct?
I don't know,
Mike. I don't think that's correct because most of that money comes from municipal bonds and funds from the city.
No,
it's not federal money. Federal money doesn't fund these stadiums. That's local and city and state tax money.
I'm just going by what it says here when I look at the money.
But they're kowtowing to Trump
But here's the thing, too, Mike.
Why you guys bringing Trump into
hold
this?
on.
Good God.
Listen, but here's the thing.
You're all a bunch of idiots.
Listen, if they're kneeling because of what Colin Kaepernick said, and when if that's the whole Black Lives Matter, that's how it really originates. There's a lot of fans that go to those games that don't agree with that, and you're gonna alienate that fan base.
I don't care.
I'm
an American. I believe in the Constitution. Don't you?
I agree with that, but you're talking about private, Mike.
We just said, hold on.
You're talking about a private business.
This is the thing. 300, it's not a private business because, number one, they were a tax-free, exempt business till 3 or 4 years ago.
So who owns the Cowboys? Who owns the Cowboys?
Hold on. 13 of the 16 NFL stadiums were financed in part by tax-exempt bonds that were given by the government for an average financing worth of $360 million. That's according to the
local and state government.
But they were tax-exempt bonds that if they're taken away, the local government can't do it.
Who decides which players stay and go? The owner.
Well,
not the fans.
Actually, I hate to tell you this, Scott. You live in Cincinnati, so Mike Brown's the owner. But most places, the guy who decides who plays is the coach.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking
That's
about
what you just said.
the owner
if you're going to get rid of a player.
No. Now, the owner ultimately is going to have final say. Now, most teams have common sense, and they'll actually the coach will. He's kind of the de facto decision maker. But the owner can trump everything. No pun intended.
Hey, but this is the thing. If this was not true, Steve, why did former U.S. President Barack Obama propose 2 previous budgets for 2015 and 16 to eliminate the tax exemptions on the stadium financing? And this is from the Brookings Institute.
I have no idea. I couldn't even begin. I would be lying to you if I tried to give you an opinion on that. I don't even have.
The money that comes from local and state municipalities has nothing to do with that. But there's over $300 million here. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
What?
What?
Here's what happens, Mike.
Okay.
If the city of Indianapolis doesn't pony up and build Lucas Oil Stadium, Jim Irsay takes his team and says, "Screw you, I'm going to California."
But see, this is the problem.
I'm gone.
If
now
there's
you don't
nobody
have
in California,
all the economic value of having an NFL team.
If there's nobody,
so they have them over.
There is no economic value.
How do we get from Jerry Jones to funding stadiums? Seriously,
there's not.
How do we get from Jerry Jones to funding stadiums?
Because this is why they do what Donald Trump wants them to do.
Look, the bottom line,
take it away.
NFL
Mike, you're on a soapbox. Mike, you're on a huge soapbox right now.
I'm not on a huge soapbox.
You're pissed off at Donald Trump or something.
Yeah, I
Guns
hate
are
Donald
getting taken
Trump,
away.
whatever.
Whatever. I don't know.
This is the thing.
You're on some different tangent.
The thing that's sad here is the fact that we can't look at what I just said. We're going to run our mouths and say that I'm saying something that I didn't.
You're running your mouth as much as anybody.
The Brookings Institute says that $360.2 million given to stadiums were from tax-exempt bonds.
Sure,
Mike, they're private entities.
Bonds
we all know that.
Private entities.
The government.
Private entities are not covered by the First Amendment. NFL teams are private entities. That's a fact.
Yeah.
Okay?
But the
NFL is not a publicly traded company.
Wait a
second.
Don't
apply. The rules don't apply to that.
Answer me this, Scott. Why does the NBA not get trouble for making their players stand?
I'm not Scott, but I'll tell you right now because they negotiated in a collective bargaining agreement with the NBAPA.
Yes. And Scott, I've got no problem.
Okay.
I've got no problem if these players sign contracts with the stipulation that they stand. I didn't have no problem with that because it's a private business. My problem is this. Up to a year ago, every one of these owners supported the players to stand, if you remember. All of them are like, yeah, we support their cause. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And now, all of a sudden, it's not that way. And this is the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have it voted on in a collective bargaining agreement. If the players agree to it, they got to stand. The NBA players had no problem doing that because what the NBA owners did is they gave them a larger cut of the money. Because if you remember Sharif Abdul-Rahim in like 1996, late 90s, he made a protest, took a knee. The next collective bargaining agreement, this was included in it. The players got something for it. And you don't hear it. You hear Steve Kerr And who's the jerk off down in San Antonio, the liberal, goofy-looking dude?
Greg Popovich.
Yeah. You got those guys will come out and talk about how bad the NFL is because they won't let them take a knee. Why don't they get tore up for that? Because their league already has it in place. They're covered. This is another situation where the NFL just dropped the ball.
The Constitution only limits what the government can do. The NFL is not the government, so the Constitution cannot. It doesn't limit the NFL's actions, Mike.
Wait a second.
It can't.
What limits their actions is the fact that the collective bargaining agreement doesn't say anything about it. In the NBA, it does. This is on the owners. And I'm sorry,
Mike, the NFL, now, it's constrained by how it treats players by its agreement, but the amendment is designed to limit government and not private businesses. It limits officials. It doesn't limit private businesses,
But this
Mike.
is the problem, Scott. If you don't write it into it, it's not there. And when you say, they said a year ago, Scott, were not these owners coming out and saying they supported the players' right to do this?
So why has it been changing that? I'm just telling you.
Okay,
wait.
Can
I say one thing?
$60 million?
Can I say one thing? Can I say one thing? Why it's happening is this. It's because television ratings are declining, seat capacities are declining, ticket sales are down. The NFL is trying to reel itself back in. So they are waffling on this stupid issue that they think is the problem. This take a knee thing is the problem that the NFL is declining in television ratings and everything. And they're going to blame it on this take a knee thing. It's not the issue.
Yeah,
it's not it.
Thing has
the product that the NFL is putting on the floor is not as quality as it was 5 years ago.
And they're charging too much money for it.
They're charging too much money. They're paying too much money. People are getting fed up with it. It's not about taking a knee. That's a scapegoat that the NFL is using. And Jones is like, if I can make money, they can take a knee. If I'm losing money, they can't take a knee. And you know what I just figured out? Jerry Jones' best friend is probably Terrell Owens. Because they're both freaking idiots.
Yeah. I mean, Jerry Jones, they put Jerry Jones in the Hall of Fame. He's never done anything.
Yeah, and Terrell's butt is going to be right next to his.
The only thing
idiot mates forever.
The only thing Jerry Jones ever did was ruin maybe the greatest team that was ever fucking put together.
This whole thing is about the profit and loss for the NFL. That's what they're worried about.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
They're going to piss it on the take a knee thing. It's a God-given right in this country to take a knee if you want to protest peacefully. They are not going out starting riots at football stadiums. They're giving their team their God-given right to take a knee. I don't appreciate it, but that's my own personal belief as much as their personal belief to take a knee. So what right do I have to enforce my personal belief on them any more than they have to enforce it on me? Take a knee. Have at it.
Hey, Steve, the thing is this. Last year, about week 8, nobody had taken a knee for 3 weeks. And then Trump gets in a speech and says, fire them all. And then the players take a knee again. And now we've got Goodell. What?
I'm telling you, Trump has had little to no effect on this. You're blowing that way out of proportion.
Yeah, I know. So you're telling me
I'm just telling
3 weeks before he said
it's a money issue for the
NFL.
It's a profitable issue for the NFL. And you know what? And God bless Colin Kaepernick. You know what? If you ever looked up the history of the 56 men that signed the Declaration of Independence, most of them got their asses killed, hunted down. They died paupers. They went bankrupt by the British government. They hunted them down. So Kaepernick has chosen to take this position, and he's paying the price for it. Yep. That's his choice.
And
he can immediately say, I'm no longer on this cause. I want to play football. He can go do that today, and I'm guaranteeing 10 teams would pick him up in a heartbeat.
Yeah, if he apologized.
But he chose to do it. He chose to do it, just like the 56 guys that signed the Declaration of Independence. They all got hunted down, except for the big name guys. And they all got murdered, killed, their families, their plantations burned to the ground. But they forged the foundry of a country that gave Colin Kaepernick the right and any other player to take a knee. Let it go. Get over it. But it's all buried because it's NFL losing money, not making the profits it was making. It's not losing money. It's not making the profit they were, and they're going to blame it on taking a knee. Horse pucky.
You said
horse pucky.
I think, but again, do we know for a fact that the fans, it wasn't affecting fan attendance at all?
Not. Well, this is what affects fan attendance.
It's not.
Right now, the fan attendance.
I watched the whole game last night, and I didn't even think about any player taking a knee. I didn't even know a player took a knee. I watched the crappy game that was played last night. It shouldn't have been played because it was a football game, the NFL, which I love to watch. I watched the whole game. I missed an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians to watch the whole game.
If you look at ticket prices, Scott, since 2013, the average NFL ticket price has gone up almost 30%. If I want to get season tickets, which I used to do, I don't anymore because I just felt like I was being screwed. I stopped in 2013.
Yeah.
And right now, if I wanted decent seats to the Bengals, that would be $80 to $100 a pop for me and my two boys. That's $300 a game, you know, and they're going to charge me full price for preseason. So before you know it, I'm out, $3,000. And then I still have to pay $20 to $40 each game to park. If I want a hot dog and a pop, that's another $30 for the three of us. So
I know.
By the time you're done, it's
I've
$5,000.
games for 10 years.
With the TV ratings, the numbers drop because of one simple thing. There's streaming devices all over the place that show the NFL. That doesn't get included in the Nielsen. Also, it's like this. If the Bengals are on, I'm watching the Bengals. When it's a commercial, I'm watching the Red Zone. When the Bengals game's over, I'm watching the Red Zone.
Same here, yeah. I watch more Red Zone
than anything. They're still getting the same amount of eyes. Hell, they might be getting more eyes now.
I think they do.
And it's even better if you get DirecTV to give it to you for free by threatening to cancel. That's even better. Now, on a serious
one more
point.
Let me say one more point. Mike, out here in LA, they're building a new stadium. Guess what you get to do now? You get to pay $25,000 to have the right to buy season tickets.
Oh yeah, that's not the only place.
It's called a seat license.
Remember,
what?
Scott,
$25,000. It's the cheap seats. The good seats are up to $100,000 a ticket for the license to buy those season tickets.
Hey, Scott.
Are they going to sell out? Yeah,
Scott,
Mike.
Oh, yeah. It's LA. Of course
Do you remember when they opened Paul Brown Stadium?
Yeah.
They made you buy a seat license for season tickets back in, too.
Of course. Oh, I know. I was paying $1,500 every 2 years. The seat license is for
IU
2
basketball
years.
does it. Assembly Hall charges a seat
the
license.
The Bengals don't do that
anymore. Hold on. Let me go back here. So regarding the whole thing here, there is in the collective bargaining agreement, there is a owners have expansive powers they can fire players or discipline for conduct that, quote, diminishes public respect for the game.
Yeah.
They're legally allowed to do that. And I think that falls in, whether I agree with it or not, you know, I mean, we in our school where I teach, we do the Pledge of Allegiance. Kids are expected to stand. They don't have to.
That's illegal.
I understand that. I know. But
that's illegal.
We don't tell them. I know. I understand that. But we've only had one kid in all the years I've ever taught. Mike, I agree with you, and you're right. Legally, you're right. Sorry, but we've only had one kid in 16 years I've been there that's done that, and that kid he was very independent, very kind of.
He got the hell beat out of him on the playground too.
Well, yeah.
Kid's only got one eye now. He stands.
He got beat up by
Jeff
Garcia.
though.
Right. I mean, we can't
by
make
the way,
him stand.
Scott, I just got a tweet from Jeff Garcia. He wants your cell phone number.
Yeah.
That is hot. That is hot.
There you go.
Oh, my.
Yes. Jesus. Anyway, no, I just
Hey,
I don't
you
think
tell
you
Jeff
can.
about the possible erectile dysfunction problems, though?
What? I don't know what you're talking about. I have zero. No,
we're just going by what your wife said. So go ahead.
We are here to make America great again.
See, she brings up Trump again.
But
can't stop.
But
the thing that's sad is this. Scott, I got a question for you real quick. Since you wanted to bring up Donald Trump, my question would be this.
What? You brought him up.
No, you said make America great again, so let's do this.
No, Mike, you brought up Donald Trump. Mike, you brought up Donald Trump about 10 minutes ago.
Do you find... No, because this is my whole problem with this. Because 90% of the people that think these players are assholes for doing this support a president that used his daddy's wealth to get out of serving his country.
Look, I really don't want to argue that.
Oh, my God.
We're
going off on a serious tangent here.
You haven't spoken in a while. What do you think, Lucas? It's a good point, though.
I think that.
Hi, Lucas.
Hey, guys. I think that, Steve, you're 100% right on this. I think the NFL
as usual
is just, they're just
You
trying
ever
to
notice
find
that
an
even
issue
when me and you agree,
to-
Steve, he's always up your ass so far?
because I'm smart.
Right,
Right.
okay, but the one point I will make about Trump is Trump is not letting this NFL thing go. He constantly
Trump doesn't let
tweets
anything
about
go.
it.
Get off of Trump. We're a sports show, not a political show. Get off of Trump now, or I'm hanging up. Get off of Trump. This is not a political show.
I second that.
Well, of course you do.
Well, it's involved.
Go back and talk about
you
things
guys
you
are
remember, which is
blind
the
to
original
think
thing.
that he's not involved in it because he tweeted about it. But all my point I'll make is this. Jerry Jones' salary has gone up 5%. And it's not because of the national anthem controversy. So if he thinks that his bottom line is getting affected by people kneeling, it's not. In fact, his salary is going up. And the Dallas Cowboys franchise is most valuable. So
Aren't they the most valuable franchise in all sports franchises right now?
They
They
got
are.
taxpayers to front $500 million for a $1 billion stadium.
Yeah, well, and he has the power to hold that over their heads.
But you don't think that he was influenced a little bit by the fans down there who are red-blooded Texans who are all about I think that's a part of it.
I don't think Jerry Jones has to worry about fans. I don't think any NFL.
I agree with Mike. I agree with Mike.
This is the thing, Scott. When it comes down to it, if no fans ever showed up to a game, they're still making a lot of money.
Exactly. TV money.
But I understand
Mike's right
that,
here.
but I don't know. I think that the owners, they recognize their fans do pay a lot into their
Really?
I mean, I went to Bengals game.
Bengals
Mike,
don't
I
care
was
about
there.
their fans.
No, listen. No, I'm saying I went to Bengals games for 8 years, and I mean, these guys drink beer. It was like $8 for a bottle of beer. Guys are spending $50 to $100 just on alcohol alone. The sales that they make in the stadium during games is off the charts. Okay, I know they're get guaranteed money, but you lose that money, you lose your fan base. It's a lot of it's public perception, and I think these owners. It's like they don't like the public perception. I think that they're sensitive to that. I really do.
Well, if they were.
And Scott, you know what you're really mostly pissed off about? Scott, you're really mostly pissed off that you don't have the beer vendor license in Riverfront Stadium or whatever.
Well,
you wish you were making $8 for a warm, crappy beer because somebody's doing it, getting rich, and you wish it was you.
I wasn't a beer drinker. I was a martini drinker. If they sold martinis.
Okay, we're not.
Yeah.
You
Tell
missed the point.
Garcia he's in.
I know. Really? Whatever.
The best way to make this thing go away is just ignore it. Let it go. Just leave it alone.
Yeah.
Let them take a knee. Let it go. Don't show it on TV. If they want to cut a deal for TV contracts, sell the cameras. Don't show the players on the sideline during the national anthem. Show
what
a flag
about
flying or show the. And just let it go.
What about
and then
players
it goes away.
What about players on the team who were like, they were in the military? Do you think this could be dissension too on the team?
I can tell
possibly.
you this,
I don't think
Scott.
I don't.
Scott,
Go ahead, Mike, I'm sorry.
I can tell you this real quick. I've coached at a fairly high level of football, and I can tell you this: if you're doing your job,
Arena football.
the guy next to you does not give a shit what you do. This is the thing. We talked to Matt Andrews-Scavage. We do a 49er show. Dexter Carter does. And we talked to multiple players last year, and they said Colin Kaepernick never caused any dissension on that team. The thing that caused dissension was they were losing.
Right.
That's what causes dissension. Losing causes dissension.
Well, but no owner wants him on their team, so he's caused some dissension.
No, he hadn't. He's caused dissension with the owner. Most
but that's what I'm saying. Like owner
care.
Create an hornet's nest.
Yeah, how many players have come out and said that they were mad because they had a teammate that did this?
Well, I just think there's some issues. You just need to keep your mouth shut, and those players, they're not going to talk.
How about this? The average NFL player's career lasts 3 years. And since Colin Kaepernick's done this, I would say there's probably about 1,000 to 2,000 players in the NFL that are no longer there. If they wanted to speak out about this, they would all of a sudden be able to make a little bit of money again. But nobody said a word about it. And it's not because they're trying to get back to the NFL, because a couple hundred of those guys haven't been in it for 3 years. I mean, what I think is this. I think the problem is there is a problem in this country of police brutality. It's not just against black people. It's against white people also. I don't agree with Black Lives Matter because there's a lot of cases that, like Michael Brown, that were made up and weren't true. But unfortunately, every day you can go on the internet and find a black person or a white person getting beat up by a black cop or a white cop that don't need to have their heads bashed in. It is a problem.
Well, and
but the point is this. When you're a rich billionaire owner, and let's face it, they're all white, why would they care about that? They don't.
Exactly. They don't care about those experiences.
Most of these guys got to be rich billionaires by walking all over people anyways. Yeah. Which is why they don't have a problem letting you or me pay for his new stadium. And every fiscal thing that's been done about these stadiums is it hurts your economy more than it helps it to have an NFL team just because of the cost of the stadium.
Well, but Mike Brown, he has made decisions only when the bottom line dollar starts to drop. So he does care, because it does link back to the fans. So I think owners do put
Mike
some
Brown
semblance
does everything
into
the same.
their.
If that was true, Marvin Lewis would not be the head football coach in Cincinnati, Steve. Don't give me that. He makes small little changes to make stupid people play along.
Yes.
Scott.
Yes.
Sorry,
don't mean that, Tom.
Sorry.
Okay, let me retract that. I think that was a stupid statement on my part. I would like to retract that.
All right, Lucas, what do you got?
Well, look, I just think at the end of the day that Mike, you got a point there. I just think that Jerry Jones, he cannot relate to the experiences of the people that Colin Kaepernick was protesting about, because he's never had to go through those experiences because he's a billionaire. He has, privilege and lots of money, so he can make these top-down decisions. But I think it just goes back to this point that Steve mentioned earlier, which is, recently the New York Giants owner, Chairman Tisch, came out with a statement and saying, we're going to support our players, and we're not going to penalize them if they take a knee for the anthem. This is a New York Giants team that's been around for 93 years. And
that owner hates Trump.
He does. I'm bringing it up, Steve.
No, stop. No, I'm just.
You're right. I'm going to jump down your throat, Scott. Leave Trump out of this conversation. I will ban you from ever being on the Grueling Truth ever again. I will blackball you. I will Colin Kaepernick your ass.
I would like to retract that statement too.
All right. Okay.
Good move.
So just quickly finishing up, Chairman Tisch just said, let's just, support the players. If they want to knee, if they want to stay in the locker room, if they want to link arms, they have the sacred right to do that. And I personally applaud that sentiment by Chairman Tisch of the football Giants.
Right. Done. Over and done with. Let it go.
I think the average fan can. I'm saying I think the average fan cannot relate to players wanting to do it based on racial issues. A lot of the average fan cannot relate to that.
You know why?
And
a lot of the average fan is not a minority.
But let's go back to Black Lives. Hold on, Black Lives Matter was marching around saying there's a video of them saying, "Who do we want? What do we want? Dead cops. When do we want it right now?"
So
what's
that got to do with anything?
Because Colin Kaepernick Black Lives Matter was a big part of his protest. To me, I think this comes down to public perception. I think that's why Mike, legally,
come on.
Look, bottom line, legally, the Constitution. If this were to go to a court of law, if some player sued, I'm telling you, they're going to lose because the way the Constitution is set up, and it's a private entity.
They're protected. They're protected in the First Amendment rights.
No, not in a private entity. They're not.
They are.
The First Amendment.
A good lawyer will argue that.
NFL teams are not covered by the First Amendment. If some player starts shooting his mouth off, he can be fired. But then it's the owner's right to fire him. It's the owner's right to fire him. I'm telling you, it's a private entity. There are law professors that have talked about that.
We had one on the show that talked about it, who said that this was an open and shut case.
Well, again, we'll just have to wait and see if it actually goes. Do you think it'll ever go to court where somebody's going to sue?
I hope so, because I will tell you this, Steve, or Scott. Sorry about that, Steve. But
Damn it.
The one thing,
Hey now.
the one thing that I do know is this. In the end, you should have a right to say or do whatever you want as long as it doesn't hurt anybody else. And right now,
Exactly.
what Colin Kaepernick did not hurt anybody. You can bring up Black Lives Matter all you want. He did not have a Black Lives Matter shirt on. He didn't have his fist in the air. He just took a freaking knee. Now, I'll tell you this.
Yeah,
I'll tell you this.
Yeah, but
Scott, this is the thing.
Yeah.
In this country today, our freedoms are pretty much gone. They just are.
Yep.
You can't do anything. I mean, this is the thing. If I don't like somebody because they're transgender, not saying that I don't, but if I do, then all of a sudden I'm considered a homophobe, a racist. And it's just my opinion that, you know, a lot of people have different opinions. And the biggest problem in this country today is this. If you have an opinion different than me, I'm just going to hang up on you and call you dirty names. And you're going to go and you're going to do the same thing to me because we have no civil discourse. I mean, I don't like Donald Trump. I don't like Hillary Clinton. I think anybody that supports either one is against America. They're against God. That's just my opinion. Right here, just proved my point.
No, I know.
I stated my opinion, and
Mike,
you went,
Mike, no. I was coughing. I had something in my throat. My son tried to hit me. My son tried to hit me.
But
what?
Hey, Lucas.
Garcia over there with you.
Hey, Steve. Lucas, do we have a golf show to do Monday?
No. Not anymore because we're going to do this show Monday.
We'll talk about the golf show while these two hammer out world peace.
My point, Scott. My point is this. As soon as I said that, you went, You didn't let me finish, and you didn't respond. And this is the thing. We've had many discussions on this. And
I thought we weren't talking about Trump.
We're not. We're talking about civil discourse. And what happens here when people cannot understand there are different points of view.
Oh, God.
True. I agree with that.
We always end the week like this. I swear to God. We get
whining?
so good through Thursday, and then we screw it all up on Friday.
What? This is so you know this, Mr. Risley. The last 3 Fridays are the 3 biggest shows we've ever done, by the way.
Because we talked about the funniest sports movies of all time.
I feel like this is a proctology exam. Jesus.
Well, of course you do.
Well, you know.
Because you know you're wrong.
But I never
knew what you were getting into.
That's
you
true.
asked for it, Scott.
No, you guys
could have not come on.
Hey, is there any other sports news we want to discuss?
It's cool.
We are starting a golf show on Monday. Lucas and I are going to be hosting a yet-to-be-named golf show on Monday.
Well, you want to tell people
about Lucas, how about if we call it Take a Tee? Let's call the show Take a Tee.
That's awesome. Are they allowed to call it that in your world, Scott?
We'll call it Take a Tee. There you go. That's a great golf show right there.
Take a Tee is awesome.
Take a Tee.
That's good. That's good. I mean,
or how about you?
Smart.
I better not say. I said, how about use that wood on our balls? What do you think about that? Come on.
And this is the guy that teaches our junior high kids right here. And we wonder why we have problems.
Every time I've talked to Scott in the 20 years I've known him, that is usually when I leave the conversation, that is my final thought.
Hey, Scott, just be careful because, you know, Jared Fogle was from Indianapolis, and I knew him, and I used to call on his dad. You got a lot of the same tendencies there, Sport. Be careful.
No, he doesn't.
Jared Fogle? Hey, I have a really, really fun. Hey, I have a Jim Sorge story. Since you're a Colts fan, I went to a casino and a dealer came up to me that I knew, and he said, "See that guy right there? That's Jim Sorge. He has no idea that I know that he's at my table. That he's there. He doesn't know that I know he is." So I'm watching him deal. He looks right at Sorge. This is back in 2003. He looked at Sorge. He goes, "You know who's got the easiest job in the world? He goes, Peyton Manning's backup. What the hell does that guy do? And he goes on, and Sorgi starts grinning. Well, Sorgi pulls out his wallet, and he pulls out a picture of his wife, and he shows it to the dealer, and he goes, that's what Peyton Manning's backup gets. She was gorgeous.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you another story about Jim Sorgi. I competed against him because he's now a sales rep in Indianapolis for medical equipment, and I had a back brace, and I had to compete against him because he represents another company that had back braces. He kicked my ass only because he was Jim Sorgi. His brace wasn't as good as mine. But it was people go, I want to talk to Jim Sorgi. Hey, I'm Steve Risley. I played at IU. Who gives a shit? This is Jim Sorgi, Colts quarterback. I couldn't sell. I mean, I had the better brace, bar none. Every doctor would say you got the better brace, but that's Jim Sorgi. He comes in and he signs footballs for us. I can sign a basketball for you. We don't care about you signing a basketball. So he sells medical equipment in Indianapolis now.
Yeah,
and he kicks ass. And he
never did.
Yeah, and he's a great guy. Jim Sorgi's a great guy. I don't think against him.
I have one quick question for Scott. Did you see the rumor about the possible new coach at Ohio State?
Is it Tom Herman?
No, it's not going to be Tom Herman. Why would he leave Texas for Ohio State?
It's Alex Smith.
Who is it?
It's Alex Smith.
Bob Stoops.
Bobby Stoops, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he's got Ohio. Isn't he from Ohio?
I think so. And you could do a lot worse
he
than
is.
Bob Stoops.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Meyer is not leaving. He will get some.
Yeah, you know what, Scott? Hang on. I tend to agree with Scott now. I don't think Meyer's going. I think that they're going to.
I didn't think he was going before. I just think he should.
Yeah, I did yesterday, but now today, I think they're going to figure out a way to keep him. And I'm not sure he should be fired now, but he needs to own up to that he made a mistake.
True.
He needs to come out and just say,
I agree with
I
that.
made a mistake. Come out and say, I made a mistake. I screwed up. I take my punishment. I'll be suspended. I'll do, but I don't think he's going to go now.
Yeah, the stuff that this woman has done, I know she's got some problems, and she had some horrible things done to her by this guy. But
yeah.
Well, my question is this: out of all this, how many of you guys watched the Hall of Fame game last night?
I did. I watched the
part
entire
of it.
game. Loved it.
My question is this:
Football.
how the hell are they going to enforce the helmet rule and the contact?
Yeah, that was a
that's a good
all
question.
night.
And
They don't know how to enforce that.
This is
Mike, what is the helmet rule? What are they saying on that?
You just can't use your helmet anywhere.
You can use the face mask. You can use the face mask, but you can't use the helmet.
Yeah.
Wow.
They don't know. They're throwing mud on a wall, hoping something sticks, because they want to act like they're doing something with CTE. What they need to do is pony up and take care of the athletes and players that have it.
And see,
deal with those guys.
Real quick,
all major sports need to do that.
I think this is what is killing the NFL. I think it's the CTE.
I agree.
The treatment of the former players and the rules and the way the game's played now. Because if I'm watching a sporting event, I usually have enough interest that I know the rules. I don't know the rules. I mean, hell, the last 10 years, we didn't know what was a touchdown and what wasn't if you're a receiver.
Well, what a great point, Mike. What a great point. Yeah. You don't know the rules. It's exactly right. I'm watching how in the hell are they going to enforce this helmet rule? They could be calling a penalty on every single play, every single tackle.
Yeah.
And then you got incidental contact too. I mean,
there's no such thing anymore.
I know. But it's like that becomes subjective.
Now the thing is this: I didn't get a chance to watch the game because I had football practice last night. Steve, was there replay on these hits?
Appreciate that.
Were there replays on these hits? Or were
curiously there were not, because I think the NFL is probably dictating to the networks, don't show replays. Don't think that they don't control what content is put on the air and what is replayed and what's not replayed. There's a lot of controversial calls a lot of times that you don't see get replayed quick enough or they'll be replayed after a commercial when people, But I think I bet the NFL is probably quietly going to the networks and saying, don't start just dissecting every helmet-to-helmet hit and create more controversy for what we're trying to bury anyway.
Everybody that's got a YouTube's channel and everybody like us is going to do it anyway.
Right.
So there's no way you
can
get
they'll all be on social media, but they can withstand social media.
And my worry
they can withstand social media.
My worry is they're going to start, I think in college, Scott, I know you watch a lot of college football. If they have a hit that they consider a target or something, don't they stop the game and look at it?
They do.
Yes, they do. And Did
Bosa
Bosa got thrown out of the game? Didn't Nick Bosa get ejected last year for that? I think he did. He did. He got thrown. Yeah.
I don't like Ohio State. Has nothing to do with Urban Meyer, because I like Urban Meyer, but I just don't like Ohio State.
And I like Urban Meyer, too. I'm sad this is happening, but he screwed up. He should have just stepped up immediately. Yeah. If he'd just come up and stepped up immediately and said, I mishandled it. I tried to make it be a private situation, let them work it out, and I screwed it up. I should have known better. I'd take my punishment. But now we have to deal with it. That's all I had to say, and this would be a non-issue.
All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the week. I want to thank Scott.
Well, we're not done, Mike. Let's go. Go do what you got to do. The rest of the three of us, I don't know, we'll find something to talk about.
Well, if you want
not
to keep
Trump,
going,
that's for sure.
We can keep going.
Yes.
Scott wants to keep
why not?
going.
We've already dug a 10-foot hole. We might as well dig a 20-foot hole.
Yes.
All right, but what did you want to discuss, Steve?
Nothing. Hey, Tiger Woods is in the building. Tiger Woods has arrived at Firestone. I'm watching it right now.
Yeah.
He's on the course. He is ready to go, and this is the tournament that Tiger has the greatest opportunity to win of all the tournaments he's played in. He dominates this course. He owns this course. This could be a huge turning point for golf and for a potential opportunity for the Growing Truth.
Well,
because if he comes back and wins, golf turns itself around almost overnight.
I agree with that. I think that's a good point.
Declining ratings and everything. If Tiger wins, this is how simple this needle is to move. You know what? You want to take it away? Put Colin Kaepernick on a team and let him play, and this crap all goes away. Just somebody put him on a team. Put him on a team and let him play. And I tell you what, he's a worthy quarterback. He is a good freaking NFL quarterback. I saw where Frank Reich said that Jacoby, who's the backup quarterback for the Colts? Jacoby, is a top 20 NFL quarterback. My ass, he's a top 20 NFL quarterback. You know what, he might be.
There's only like 15 good starters, so.
Yeah, well, okay. But Colin Kaepernick
he threw 16 touchdowns to 4 interceptions the last season he played.
Yeah,
Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah, and he had a passer rating of like 91 or 101. He actually had better numbers that season than Jimmy Garoppolo had last year.
If the NFL wants this crap to go away, put Colin on a football team, let him have a chance to prove himself that he's worthy of being on a team, and let him go play, and this whole thing diminishes and goes away. Because it's really what it's all about. It's about blackballing Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
And that's what it boils down to, in my opinion, that's what this whole take-a-knee thing has boiled down to.
Well,
you're punking Colin Kaepernick.
What the hell was his name, Scott? Eric Reed or Justin Reed, the safety from the Niners?
Eric.
Yeah, Eric Reed comes to the Bengals. The Bengals are going to sign him, and the Bengals need a safety badly because Sean Williams is not that good. And Mike Brown asked him if he promised not to take a knee. He said he didn't promise that. So instead of making the team better, Mike Brown chose to let Reed leave. And that is a problem to me.
I agree. That is a problem.
I agree with that.
Hey, Scott,
I will concede that. I'll concede that.
Scott, I don't take a knee during the national anthem, but I can tell you this right now. If you told me every Cincinnati Bengal is going to take a knee all year next year, all the way through the Super Bowl and win it, I would be all for that.
I'm all for it. Yeah. I'm with you, Mike.
But hold on. Weren't the two teams that made it to the Super Bowl the least knee-taking team? I thought I read that somewhere. They were the least.
Cowboys players.
No, wait a second, Scott. The Bengals have never had a player take a knee during the national anthem, so that blows that all to hell.
I think you're right about that. I just thought they were two teams that they were fine, and they were in the upper bracket of I don't know. I just think the good Lord blesses teams that do that.
Really?
That's my
wait a second. The good Lord blesses teams
that show respect to the country.
Okay. See, this is what I think.
Well,
I think the good Lord blessed this country with freedom, and we're the only country he blessed like that.
True.
And it's being taken away.
True.
You know, Mike, I'm beginning to believe that the biggest problem in the NFL is there are a bunch of old white guys that own these teams.
Exactly.
And they're not progressive. They're not up to date. It's like letting congressmen be congressmen and senators forever. There has to be term limits. You have to change with the world's changing. And they let these old
the only term limits in owning an NFL team are death.
So they should just, hand it over to somebody else like Trump got his money handed to him?
Don't you wish
I'm kidding.
would do that,
I'm
Scott?
kidding.
We should.
I'm teasing.
No.
I wish Mike Brown would turn into a turtle.
Why?
Just get him.
I just
get
think
him
on the team.
I don't
need to.
Go on.
What's wrong with Sean Diddy Combs being a part owner of an NFL franchise? I think you want to try and buy the Panthers or something at some point in time.
Oh,
I
think that'd be good.
Blood in there. Let some fresh blood, let some new mentality go into the sport, and let it keep current with today's world. The problem is the NFL is not current with today's world. There's nothing wrong with Colin Kaepernick doing what he's doing. I don't like it.
Hey,
that's my personal belief.
Real quick,
but it's just
if
right
you want to bring
do
it
up.
up. I'm going to bring up Donald Trump's name, but not in a president light. It's because of the USFL and not what he did there. But he wanted to own an NFL team, and NFL owners wouldn't let him in the boys' club.
Right. They wouldn't let him in the boys' club. Right. There's the NFL's biggest problem is the boys' club. It's not Colin Kaepernick. It's not taking the knee. It's the NFL boys' club. Of those guys, these old white guys that own these teams, that have their set mentality, that cannot think progressively, that don't look to see the 360 view of the world today, and it causes this friction that degenerates into blaming Colin Kaepernick for all the problems in the NFL.
But just looking at how the league has been run, and the money that's been generated, the revenues, to me, I actually agree with you, but to me, it's almost like if it's not broken, they're not going to change anything because they've been successful.
So it's broken. It's broken.
To them, but do you think it's broken to them? Do you think they see it that way?
I think it's broken to them, and I don't think they understand the real problem.
The NFL is trying to be run today like it was run in the 1930s. That's how it's being run.
Yeah.
It's being run under the same principles it was run when it was founded in the 30s or 40s, whenever the NFL was formed. That's how the NFL is being run. That's why douchebag, what's the guy's name? The guy that runs the damn commissioner.
Roger Goodell.
Oh.
Goodell. That's why he's there. He's a puppet boy for the owners. They pay him $40 million just to do whatever, speak whatever they think. That's what they
Did you see him run? Did you see him run the 40 in his office? That dude can fly.
That's immaterial to me. I don't give a shit about that.
I'm just
crap.
Yeah, that's not. See, you take a good discussion and turn it into something stupid.
I'm just teasing. No, but
the NFL is still being run like it was run in the 40s, and they've gotten more money they know what to do with. They've gotten fat and happy. They've off of stupid, dumbfound luck success of people loving the sport. They got fat and rich, and they think we are smarter than all of you. The problem is people are getting smarter than the owners, because the owners are getting so old and so narrow-minded they can't see 360 degrees anymore, and the world is now being looked at 360 degrees through social media, through expanded TV coverage, through every faucet of ability to investigate, and the owners are still the same little good old boy club that think they have their own little world and they dominate the world. And they're going to piss it all on Colin Kaepernick. That's what's happening.
But don't you think, too, that this is eventually going to pass, though? I mean, I think this eventually is going to die down.
Well, not as long as we keep talking about it and they keep pissing on Colin Kaepernick. No, Colin Kaepernick now is a poster child for what's wrong with the NFL. He's no longer about this protest has gotten way bigger than taking the knee for black rights, which I'm all in support of. You know, I agree with Mike. I think there's police brutality out there on both sides of the fence, but it's just this has gotten bigger. And I just think let him play. Stop it. Let him play. Put him on a team.
But to the average fan who may not be that informed and sees him wearing that Fidel Castro, there are some fans that will not see past that. I'm just they just
you know what?
that'll alienate. I'm not.
All that proves to me is there are a lot more Terrell Owens out there in this country than I thought there were. That's all that proves to me.
It's just a T-shirt. Hey, how about this, Scott?
It's a T-shirt.
This is the thing, though, and this is an interesting question. What if Tom Brady showed up wearing a Confederate flag?
I think Giselle would never allow that to happen. Brady would never do that. Brady would never do that. I'm telling you, Brady would never do that.
Mike, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
What's the shirt company that makes our T-shirt? Cincinnati Shirt Company.
Cincy Shirts.
Let's plug them. Cincy Shirts doing a great job making T-shirts for us. Go online to our website, buy a T-shirt. Support the Grueling Truth. Mike, why don't you have Cincinnati Shirt Company? Why don't you have Cincinnati Shirt Company send Colin Kaepernick a Grueling Truth T-shirt? Let's see if he wears that, because it is the Grueling Truth.
Yeah.
I mean, he cannot wear a more great statement. Send Colin Kaepernick a box of Grueling Truth T-shirts.
So if we get more money,
and let him wear those.
But yeah, and you can buy Grueling Truth T-shirts on Cincy Shirts. You can find.
That's
hey, how about you?
Can
I get a free Grueling Truth?
No, you don't get any free
T-shirt.
Nothing's free.
You got free airtime. That's all you get free.
I mean, in the last 2 days, like 10,000 people are going to hear your view. You should buy a shirt because we let you come on.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough.
And you can go to cincyshirts.com and you can buy a Grueling Truth shirt.
Hey, Steve, I've been honestly been Googling your name trying to find, and I just realized your last name is not Ridley, it's Risley. Yeah.
Thanks, Terrell.
Big difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
Big. Yeah. Anyway, just I'm kind of stalking you because you played college ball for an amazing coach, so that's pretty.
I'm a legend in my own mind.
He is.
Hey, you play D1 college.
National champion.
I'm an absolute legend in my own mind. There you go.
He is.
All right. Well,
that's about where it ends.
Guys, I got to clean my house before my wife gets home here. So.
yeah. If you didn't have the ED problem, you wouldn't have to clean the house, Scott.
I'm just gonna move on because I don't want to get in trouble. So. Yeah.
Hey, we'll have you on the Bengals on the Monday before the Bengals play in the Super Bowl.
We're gonna have Scott back.
Yeah, on the the Monday before the Bengals play in the Super Bowl, Scott will be a guest.
Great. I love having Scott on. Scott's a good guy.
You guys, I appreciate you guys. Yeah,
you're like Rocky. Hit me again. That all you got? Hit me harder. Hit me again. Hit me again. That all you got? Come on, you ain't nothing.
That's pretty good.
All right, guys. We're going to wrap the show up for this week. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank Scott for coming on today and Lukas. And, of course, I want to thank Steve for being the biggest legend in his own household, as am I, by the way. So
I'm not the biggest. My wife's a bigger legend than me because she puts up with me. She's a bigger legend.
But, all right, guys, make sure you follow us at Grueling Truth, at Survive the Magic for Survived in Advance. Make sure you go follow the Facebook group on Facebook. Remember, you can hear all of our shows on iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn, Spreaker, and now Spotify, plus anywhere else you find sports podcasts.
Maybe this week. Maybe not after this week. We won't get Spotify anymore.
For Lukas Weese, Scott Wilson, Steve Risley.
Yes, sir.
I'm Mike Goodpaster.
Ridley.
Listening to the Grueling Truth, where the Ridley speaks.
That's awesome.